Welcome to the Hire Truckers Podcast, where we interview experts in driver recruiting. We provide industry insights, marketing trends, and motivation to help you level up your recruiting game. Welcome to the Hire Truckers Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Craddock, and today I'm super excited. We have Dr. Gina Anderson on. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So when I was thinking through the intro, one of the things I realized I needed to add is published author. And so as the date of recording this, I think, so it officially launched today, your new book?
Well, my official launch is Thursday, but it is actually available today on Amazon. It was
available.
Published.
We're going to go find it and order it.
Oh, Literally, I'll send you a copy. You don't need to order it.
I'm going to order it too. And so she is a two-time Inc. 5000 founder and CEO. The main way I heard about Gina's brand is through Luma, like Luma Brighter Learning, and like through one of our mutual clients, and since started following her. And well, actually, I think the first time Ginger met her at Women in Trucking, and then started following her then, and then I've just kind of run in parallel circles, and then had some similar client overlap. And I'm just excited to explore. Like when I sent over kind of the invite to have Gina on the podcast, it was like a whole list of like, I'm just curious about like these 10 different things.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we should talk about.
I'm happy to share.
And so my first question is around your mascot. And actually, I didn't know how I should word this. Is it, should I say what is Nugget, or should I say who is Nugget?
Probably what is Nugget, because Nugget is an it.
An it. Yeah. That's why I was like struggling.
Nugget is an it. Pronouns are very, very important for Nugget, because I want Nugget to be anything to anyone that needs whatever they need. And Nugget is a little bit of hope, love, and learning that can spread joy anywhere it goes. And so, sometimes Nugget is assigned a he, sometimes a she. But Nugget really isn't it. And I believe every company needs a mascot. And the reason why, Aaron, is everybody needs something to cheer about. You think about, when I first started Luma and I told some of my team that we were getting a mascot, they were like, Gina, this is trucking. Like, dudes aren't going to they don't want a little orange thing. Like, what is that? Like, that makes no sense. And my thing is think about college, think about high school. Think about the NCAA tournament. We do this big thing, during that time. Everything is around, people have mascots. They even have, the pools of the mascots. People need something to cheer about. You need something to celebrate. You need something that releases that dopamine that makes you feel good. And so that's why we have Nugget. And Nugget actually has a best friend. Nugget's best friend is Brush. Brush is a little furry blue person that we actually have creatures that go around. And we send Brush out to... Brush represents the importance of having relationships and meaningful connections. So Brush, when someone makes a meaningful connection to us, they get sent a Brush with a little note that everyone needs a best friend. So Nugget's best friend is Brush. We have a whole loot of friends of Nugget. And so the question is, Aaron, when are you getting a mascot? That's really the question. Or maybe you have one. I don't know.
Okay. So when I interviewed Tracy on our podcast.
Yeah, she had Terry the turtle.
Yeah, but before that, she's like, I'm not doing this if it's not fun. She's like, I'm not even going to do a podcast. And I'm like, and I am so serious. I enjoy business. Yeah. And I sometimes I'm like the inverse. I don't have enough fun and don't laugh enough.
Yeah.
And I really have to work at it. And so part of the reason, I wanted to have, I try to be around Tracy a lot, is she makes me be more joyful and,
I love that.
And just have fun. Tracy. And then same thing with Ginger that works in our business, just her brand, Find Joy in the Journey.
It's happiness. Happiness.
Yeah. And so I need a mascot in my life. And so
you too.
We how do I go about it?
You're going to unveil it?
My first question is, how many friends does Nugget have? You're saying it's multiple different
Yeah. Well, look.
little mascot friends that are actual
Yeah. I'll
existing.
send you a coloring book, and each of them have a special mission. And every year that a client reaches their Lumiversary, they get a super shirt of a mascot of Nugget's friends because each of them represents something very meaningful. And so as long as you stay a Luma client, you continue to get goodness. And it's very important because that is the seed of learning, really. And you said that you don't have to, you can be serious and have mascots. You just
Oh,
need
I
something
know.
to cheer about. You know what I mean?
I know. I
Hmm.
need a mascot. I'm just saying, I feel like adding a mascot will help me
Hmm.
take life a little less seriously, like just
Hmm.
enjoy.
Well,
I need a
yeah.
mascot in my life for
You
a
do.
bunch of
Well, I
different
can help you
reasons.
think about that. So Blake Lappin, he is the CEO and founder of a company, and him and I talk about his mascot because he didn't have a mascot. He was in the same shoe, and he wanted Nugget to have a partner friend mascot, and he created Spot On, and it's a little light post, and it's purple. And someday Nugget and Spot On are going to meet, and they're going to duke it out. So if you have a mascot, we could have a trifecta, and Terry the Turtle could come and we could
Uh,
have a trucking trifecta or however many mascots and they could all get together. Cause I think, and I know the TCA has a mascot. It's a truck, right? Or
uh,
maybe it's ATA. Maybe I'm mixed. But in any case, mascots make it a little bit more enjoyable and they have to have a purpose. You can't just have a mascot. It has to have a purpose. So what is the purpose of your mascot? And
hmm.
that's what's important because you can't just have a mascot. Every mascot at a university has a purpose and that's why they're all unique. And I just think it's important. And why don't businesses have it? Because they take it too seriously. You know, I don't
Hmm.
know. It's just, I just ask why not. And so when my one employee said, we can't do that. And I asked him, why not?
Hmm.
Why not? Why can't you do it? Why not? Like, what's holding you back from having a mascot? Why aren't you feeling it? Like, why don't you already have it? Like, that's my question.
So the
Hmm.
first question I have to determine, like, what is the purpose? And so I'll look at like our 3-year vision for our
Hmm.
company
Hmm.
because I know there's an
Yeah.
alignment and purpose there. And then the second thing, so I just have to get somebody to design it. Is that kind of
You
the
think
next
about
step?
it in your head. Like, what is it? What is it? So Nugget came from the burst of our logo because to me, brighter, you want to have a burst of learning and information. And so you have to think creatively. Are you creative? You're creative. If or get with creative folks that like to think outside the box about your brand and like what it means and like it has to have deeper meaning. Like you have to
Hmm.
think about and don't put pressure on yourself. It's like, like the burst of logo and our that's where Nugget came from. Nugget is the burst that continues to bring light and joy and learning all over. And so you can carry it around. So I think it's thinking about the bigger purpose and where's it come from in your brand. So you just have to have
Hmm.
a brain and don't put pressure on yourself. You could probably think about it while, you're in the shower, it just comes to you. That's how
Hmm.
that's how creativity comes. There's no pressure to be creative.
Hmm. The Yeah, I'm excited. We need a
All
logo.
right, well, I'll help you. I helped Blake. Blake and I talked and then we came up. He is like his light. He has a stoplight, little spot on. Go spot on. I love it. Why not?
I'm gonna look them up.
And he used AI to generate it. He didn't even need an artist. He sent me a
Ooh.
picture of it the other day. He just said, AI, generate an image of a light post that's, purple. And so that's what it is. Hmm. He didn't even hire anyone. He just got it. That it is. So there you go. And then I called the Ellen show because honestly, I wanted a real mascot because I'm like, I want this thing to like move around and be. So I called and I got where they got their mascot. And because you could call any university probably, obviously, and find out where they get their mascot made. So I found out and we created it and it comes with us to special events. So Nugget's been to Trimble twice and won on stage in both of those demos because people remember. It's what they remember. You want to tap into the human brain, and that's my passion.
And that's how I found out like there was like the it pronoun, and that's why I was asking earlier
Mm,
the who, should I say who or what? is Nugget was because of your posts around him traveling to Trimble and all those different things. I think it was used at, was it Epps? Or
No,
Estes?
Estes.
Estes.
Yeah, so Estes came and picked Nugget up from my garage, and they took special care of Nugget, and it was so, oh my gosh, it was Nugget needed to be there because Nugget was the main person presenting for the demo. And the first year we won. The second year, I think we should have won, but they didn't want us to win twice. But people will still remember. The goal is when you do a demo of any technology or anything, you have to have people remember you. So people, what are they going to remember from that showcase? They're going to remember that Nugget made it out of the Venetia Hotel alive because of the immersive experience we created. Nugget, that's the thing. Your mascot has to serve a purpose. It can't just be on a shelf, you know? And Terry the turtle serves a purpose for Tracy. Terry is, you know, serves a purpose for her. So you just have to think about it. And I'm happy to help you when you get there.
We're going to do it. And I'm hoping that multiple mascots within the transportation industry are birthed.
Let's do it. And they all can be friends.
Because of this show today. And then there's going to be a big mascot.
Why
whether
not?
It's like
I mean,
party,
they're like, we're men. People are like, you're a female. It has nothing to do with gender. This has nothing to do with gender. This has to do with being engaged and also having fun. And not only that, but having something to celebrate. We want to celebrate each other. We want to lift each other up. Why do every sports team, every NFL team has a mascot, right? That's all. It's all, every basketball team has a mascot. So why don't every company have a mascot? I don't know. We could have a whole bracket. We could do a bracket of mascots competing for March Madness among our companies. I think that would be incredible.
Yes. No, I love it. And when I was I had an opportunity to like do some goal setting with like Ed Milet. He's like one of the people I look up to in like the motivation space. And so I was in his home like a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
And he was talking about like as we were setting our goals for the year, like having like tying them to an emotion. And so like a couple of the things I had is like I need to have more joy and things this year. So a lot of my goals are like framed around like joy and happiness and enjoying what I do. And so I think the mascot is going to have to be incorporated within like the goals for this year. So
I love that. Let's do it.
Now let's take a minute to thank today's sponsor. Do you hire truck drivers in hard to fill areas, or do you need help creating efficiency in your recruiting department? You're not alone. With 50 plus years experience, Trucking Clicks specializes in data-driven strategies, industry-leading customer experience, and custom solutions that'll get you to your goal. Trucking Clicks is your go-to place for high-quality, direct leads at scale. Visit truckingclicks.com or call 512-982-0816 today. The next thing, so we mentioned like your book early when we were starting out the show. One of the quotes I had pulled from one of your posts the last couple of days that really resonated with me is step off the treadmill of endless scrolling and embrace a more connected, fulfilling life. That just really means a lot to me because of my own just even journey in terms of like interaction with social media and how much time I spend on it and how I leverage it. And so I'm just curious, tell me a little bit more about that, the stepping off the treadmill of endless scrolling and embracing a more connected.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, like you probably know this as much as I do being a business owner or not being a business owner, but I spend a lot of time. In the last year, I find I travel a lot. And so what do I do when I'm traveling? Because I'm by myself is I will spend time scrolling on social media and I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I'm very attuned to how our minds work and cognitively how that impacts you. And I found myself feeling sad and sad because, and there's a lot of research that's showing this because of what you're seeing on social media. And so the thing is, what if, and I asked myself this question, you asked me the why, what if we spent, and I know being a learning scientist that in fact, scientists are making apps, they're making social media, they're making technology more addicting based on the light, based on the sounds, based on everything with it to make you want to look at it. Like when you don't look at your phone, you find yourself wanting to look at your phone. Like it's not there and you're wondering, what am I missing? All of that is addictive behavior. That is key to being tied to addiction. And the thing is, the Surgeon General in 2023 came out with a research study that I read in very in depthly, and it really resonated with me the fact that people are feeling lonely. I went to a talk, there were like 3,000 people in the room, and I asked them, how many of you feel like a 5 today, a 4 or 5? Like two or three people raise their hand. Like no one is feeling good. People are sad, but what if we, instead of doing those types of things, really got in touch with our true selves and really what's important? And you talk about happiness. That is the key, the deep key that's in my book. How do you unlock happiness, more happiness in your life, more meaning in your life, to be more connected, not only with other people, but with your true self? And for me, being an owner of a learning company, this is deeply meaningful because learning has lost this element of the heart and it's lost this element of the mind. And it's just a bunch of content. That's really all it is. And so that quote and that post is deeply meaningful because it's the reason I wrote my book. I wanted to give strategies for people to reignite their passion for living, really discover what it is that's holding them back, and giving them a roadmap to move forward. And so that's what my book is about. And really the reason I wrote the book is because of that moment when I realized, like, I'm sad too. I mean, I'm not feeling, it's just making me feel worse, like doing this. So why are we continuing to do it? And I'm not the only person. You look at a room of 3,000 people and it's like, well, we're in a time in our lives where we're the most connected. We could call anyone in the planet. Well, maybe not on the planet, but not, but we could call pretty much anyone we wanted to through WhatsApp or anything. I can contact right now someone I know in Saudi Arabia, for example. So why are we feeling so disconnected when we're so connected? And there's a science behind it and there is an answer. And that's why I'm really excited and passionate about it.
I'm so excited to read it. So, yeah. So you had asked, like on our pre-call, you're like, hey, did you write a book? Because I was like, oh, I have something in common with this. So no, my wife though, Lauren, she this year like had a mentor in January, or last year, I should say. So this time last year, she had a mentor like challenge her to just like write every day and like write her book. And so initially it was going to be around minimalism in the classroom because she's a teacher.
Oh.
And so and a lot of the same concepts of like what you're talking about, like in terms of like less and like just the impact of things and even technology. But what it evolved into is it actually, so she ended up writing it within 6 months and finished it. I think it'll be like 150 pages. Like we actually have the copy of it right now. We're in editing. And so I'll be reading it in the next week. And then a few of our mentors and friends, like published authors, are reading it. But yeah, it turned into just minimalism in general in our whole journey. And that's not just like we've gotten rid of 40,000 items like in our home, like since we moved to Texas 2.5 years ago. But it's not even that. It's like how we like cut out the like social media consumption. Like I'm a producer, or I'm on there with intent, not just mindlessly scrolling, and like the impacts that's had versus spending hours on it before. Like the impact that she has like in consuming social media. Like she has to delete Facebook from her phone just because she gets anxiety and like about how other people's lives look and things. And it's like crazy how quickly it can spiral.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read that book. It's so connected. I mean, it is very much connected, and it's leading with purpose, right? It's leading with anything you do is leading with purpose and why you do it. For me, social media, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. They're like, Gina, that's great. Like you're saying this, but you're on LinkedIn a lot. It's like, I am, but every post I make, everything I do is authentic. I like something will happen like the other day or 2 days ago, I had an elf in my yard taking down Christmas lights and he told me how meaningful my podcast was to him. And him and I, Robert, dear elf Robert, talked for like a half hour because what we're doing and what you're doing and what you're saying, you're making an impact to help people thrive and move forward because that's what's deeply important. And that's the whole purpose of my company. That's the whole purpose of my being. And you ask like the why, and you just hit on it. It's about making those meaningful connections. And, but the thing is, it's not just, this is grounded in neuroscience. This isn't like just my opinion. This is the science of learning and how our brains work because our brains are so powerful. You can like talk yourself out of something that's not even true, but because your brain is functioning in the chemicals and the way that it's always evolving and changing can make an impact. And so anytime you do something on if you're going to do social media, at least this is my opinion. And like you just said, it has to be purposeful and you have to do it in amount that is, that you can handle because maybe it's 5 minutes a week, maybe it's not every day. So I think everyone has to be in tune to what their true self needs and how that impacts them and everyone in their lives. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Have you read The Anxious Generation?
I haven't, but I actually am writing. I'm writing a white paper about generations and the impact of coaching. And in fact, it'd be interesting to see how they define the generation because I'm actually looking at age development and how that corresponds to the development of our brains and how our brains evolve and how different influences impact the cognitive structure of our brain. But to answer your question, I haven't read it, but it'd be interesting to kind of see that.
So it's more geared towards like technology's impact on kids. But yeah, it makes a few arguments like I didn't expect it to go into, like in terms of like letting your kids like have risk and like risky play and how technology's changed that. And anyway, I think you would enjoy it. It's a hard read in terms of, just kind of some like difficult concepts in terms of like the negative impact that technology can have on kids and anxiety and things like that. But a really good read.
I love learning. That's the thing. I love learning. You always can learn. That's the seed of life, like to continue to learn and learn new things, learn new perspectives, because at the end of the day, when you stop learning, you stop living. And so I think it's really important to continue to think about ways of understanding yourself and seeing the world around you. It's so critical because we can gain new understandings and new perspectives that make us appreciate each other, even on a deeper level.
So speaking of learning, like I want to learn more about like Luma because I really don't know. Like this is, it's kind of funny when Gina and I were setting up this call. It's like, let's just like, I want to learn all these things, but like, let's just do it on a podcast and like share with our mutual networks. And so what is, like, I guess first question is like, why did you start like Luma? Like what's the story behind that? And then I have some follow-up questions too.
Yeah, so I started Luma with Scott, my husband. Scott actually had a remote sensing company. He was doing missile warning detection systems. And I was I was the director of online learning at the University of Dayton, Go Flyers. And we used to debate a lot about how people learn. My passion, I started my career as a special education teacher. And I'm always have been interested in why certain people have hurdles learning. And that has really been the core of my passion since I was really little, of trying to really understand, like, why does this person understand this information? Or why does this person have trouble tying their shoe? Or why is this person struggling with this condition or whatever that is, whatever's holding them back? So we started creating, I had perspective on different technologies and what worked and what held people back that had learning challenges or ADHD or just different learning challenges and hurdles. And so we created a technology together. He pivoted and I kind of convinced him like, this is something we should do together. So we did. In fact, we started the company in 2008. People think, oh, did you just come out? Have you been around? We've been in business a long time. Like that to me is a long time, 2008. But we entered into trucking around 2014 because we were right next door, and I don't know if you remember Stay Metrics. They actually were acquired by 10th Street, but our office was right next to them, and they were like, Gina, you should go look at and see some how trucking companies are being trained. I went out and I was horrified, Aaron. I just couldn't get over how drivers were being trained. And I thought there's a real opportunity here to really make an impact and specifically to change behaviors. Because the thing about it is, it's not the fact that drivers might not know, like, not to text and drive, for example. It's just that we have to work with them to change their behaviors. And also, if you sit in a classroom for 5 days, for 8 hours a day, you're not going to remember any of the content anyway. So we started in 2014 in trucking, and we've made such a measurable impact. We have clients that come to me and say, Gina, we've improved our safety. And I kind of laugh because I was like, yes, I know. I mean, when you do these things and you use all interaction modes, you can really change behaviors. That's the short version because we don't have much time.
So how is, or I guess why is Luma different? Like you kind of touched on that a little bit of just, you were kind of like appalled at like what existed in terms of training prior to you entering the market in 2014. How and why is it different?
Well, most of our competitors, if you call them competitors to me, they're content providers. So you can generate content and we have content too at Luma because that's what the industry demands, but content doesn't change behaviors. And content alone, if you're going to create content, having done my PhD research on developing content specifically in the nursing schools, like what does that look like in terms of memory retention? And that's just like trucking, that's an industry you don't want a doctor or nurse to be operating on you and have to use chat to figure out how to fix you. You know what I mean? Like you want to have people to be able to remember the information. It's like in a truck, you don't want someone driving a semi truck and be like, okay, how do I back this? I'm going to look it up. Like, no, they have to be able to do that. And so the thing about what makes Luma different is that we use all interaction modes. We have a learning management system, but you can employ all of them across different interaction times. So learner to learner, learner to self, learner to instructor, learner to machine, learner to content. Learner to content is the last interaction mode. I write about this a lot. If you're going to do content, it has to be authentic, meaning this is how I got Nugget. We're going to come back to Nugget. I got Nugget out of the building at the Venetian. Look, I could have, if I used one of our competitors and sent them a video, sent it a video on how to get out an emergency exit, it's generic. Like, okay, that's an emergency exit video. Well, that's not going to help him. That's not going to help Nugget get out of the Venetian. So what I did is I took my phone, I scanned the environment in my phone, and it's called Immersion. I uploaded it to Luma. We created all the exits, all the hazards. Nugget had to get down the stairs off the stage. And Nugget could use that. And Nugget doesn't read English very well. Nugget actually speaks German. I don't know if you knew that. So the whole system read to Nugget because Nugget doesn't read in German. And so it's like using all these different modes of learning to help Nugget. And Nugget got out of the Venetian. That's a content interaction, but it's very different than what others are doing. And people say, Gina, I don't have the time. We don't have the time. It takes literally I only had 15 minutes to demonstrate this before the buzzer went off. It was 5 minutes. I had 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes. And then the buzzer went off. The thing is, it doesn't take time. You just have to have the passion. And if you want to change behaviors, you can. And the thing is, most people don't even ask their learners in this industry what they want to learn. Like, what do you want to learn? Well, if you don't have someone's attention within 8.5 seconds, the scientists, neuroscience are finding your mind starts to wander. So if your podcast is so long, if people aren't interested in it, they're going to tune out after a few seconds. So it's think about that for a driver, anyone, a warehouse worker, a doctor, all the safety sensitive things that these people are doing, they have to remember it. And so that's what makes Luma different. I'm so passionate about it because I know it works. If you use the technology, you can have a technology and not use it. You could have Luma and not really use it. Just like anything, But if you use it, and you could use it online, you can use it in the classroom, you can use it blended, all different modes, because on average, you need to hear or see something 7 ± 2 times on average. So if you think about that for cargo securement or anything, you have to do it again and 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 again. You know, it's like, it's not just one time. You can't just send them a video. I get like, so it's like, what are you currently doing? And they're like, but that's what I've always done. That's the worst thing. I actually saw this. One of our clients has this as their tagline. I'm not going to say who they are, but I thought this is great because it says, that's the worst thing you can ever say. That's how it's always been done.
They have that as a tagline.
Yeah, they
That's how
have
it's
that
always
in their
been done.
signature. It's like that's the worst thing you can. I saw it yesterday. They're like, that's the worst thing you could
Oh, the
possibly do.
worst
That's
thing.
that's the worst thing. That's the way it's always been done. Well, you know what? That's and then the thing is, I'm writing this white paper on age groups that are younger that are coming into the workplace. Look, you can't continue to do stuff the way that things have always been done because of the influences that they've exposed themselves to that have been in their lives that are going to impact the structure of their brain and also how they learn. You're not going to be able to. So and the thing is, it's not meant to scare people. It's to give them the resource so that they can reach everybody. We just launched in May, Luma Navigator. It's the only thing in the industry or even in education that individualizes learning. Like no one's doing that. Like they don't even know how to do that. It's like so far ahead. Like the people are like, they don't even get it. It's like that. What does that mean? It's like, well, I mean, that's the thing. If you develop, people don't get it, they're not going to use it. So that's my challenge as a business owner is to tell people and educate people that why that's important and how to use it. So we're always innovating because I'm always studying how our brains and specifically how we can impact people's learning because that's my passion.
So you helped Nugget escape from the Venetian
Yeah, I
by
sure did.
scanning the environment. So is that like when you did that, was that like just a 360-degree like view, or is that like
hmm You just take a
the,
panorama. You just use your
that's what
phone.
you did? You did panoramic and then you notated where to go and stuff?
Yeah, so what happens is the immersive technology that we built, you can use panoramic pictures, you load it to Luma, and then you can you can put hotspots, you can put video on top of it, you can put any overlay over it, but then you can pan it around. So we have clients doing this for inspections, for cargo securement, for terminal. We had someone do it. Look at this. This is crazy. Like parking lot accidents, people will like pull up and hit a pole or something because they're sending them parking lot accident videos. That makes no sense. Like, yeah, we all know not to get in an accident in a parking lot. Like, I know that, you know that. But the drivers is like, yeah, they know that, but then they hit a pole. It's like, well, why'd you hit a pole? You just took a video on like parking lot safety. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see it. So what you can do with immersion, you can scan the parking lot, load it, you can drop it to them, and with the technology in trucks now, it's getting to the point you can drop it like by location. You can see the parking lot before you even get there, and you can say, wow, okay, I know I'm going to go to this parking lot and they're going to have this pole. It's going to be narrow and I got to prepare myself for that. So it's giving them what they need. That's authentic learning. It's giving people what they need when they need it, just in time, and not like first day in orientation, like hour 4, like saying be safe in parking lots. And then that's it. It's like,
I told you to be safe.
right. And it's like not
I just
impactful.
wanted to hit the pole, it was
Right,
just
right. And then the thing
seemed
is
like a good
now,
idea.
if they get that immersion and they still hit the pole, that's psychology. That's change behavior management. And so that's tapping in. Are you ready to change? Is this a behavior you want to change? And moving them through that piece, which Luma helps with too. So, there's a heart and then there's the mind, and you have to think about both components to drive behavior change. hmm
Hmm. Yeah, that's so cool.
hmm
I wish I'd heard that. So did you do a similar, so that was your Trimble presentation?
Yeah, that was last year. This year I did another Trimble presentation with Nugget, but like I said, we demonstrated Luma Navigator, and I wanted to show that Nugget needed at least 5 interaction modes, with learner to learner engagement being so critical, which I didn't mention that one before, but with hyperscanning, they have shown that learner to learner to learner engagement actually helps with knowledge retention. So we did a Luma Navigator with Nugget on stage to show how Nugget needed learner to instructor, learner to self coaching to change Nugget's behavior. And we demonstrated it live. Nugget actually did and these bracelets, everybody had to make a commitment to stop texting and driving, and we wanted Nugget to stop texting and driving. And so we had to make a commitment to change. Yeah, and people walked away and they remember the whole experience. If you ask people what Luma demonstrated at Trimble, they'll be able to tell you, because we created emotional resonance to help them remember the information of Nugget. Now, we didn't win in year 2, but we're still winners because we were on stage. And honestly, I really do believe that they don't want 2-time winners there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you don't want back-to-back wins. It's not like the Bulls. You don't get 5 rings.
Mm-hmm. I have so many questions still. We're running low on time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I talk too much.
No, you don't talk too much. There's just, like I said, like there's just so many different topics I wanted to dive into. So I want to know like the why behind, because you talk a lot about like spreading positivity and kindness, like, and just, I think you're part of I forget what it was on LinkedIn, like the kindness, what's the name of it?
Kindness Worldwide ambassador.
Yeah, Kindness Worldwide. And I just see it in your content and all that. Like, what's the, like why? Like, why spread positivity? Why spread kindness? Like, is there some, like, backstory? Like,
yeah, so, yeah, honestly, for me, I am very focused on just having empathy and knowing that everyone goes through hurdles. Everyone has gone and continues to go through life hurdles, and the powerful ability to change behavior through releases of dopamine and serotonin and just goodness that can get released chemicals from your brain is very powerful. And it can be bad. There's good and bad. And like you said, there can be that release when you're doing video games and technology. I mean, there's so much research. But with gratitude, which is gratitude or kindness, there is a lot of neuroscience research that shows it actually makes you feel happy. And you say you need more joy in your life. And maybe there's something to unlock there as well. But if you sent a text right now, if you're listening and you send a text to anyone that's on your mind and tell them how much they mean to you or what they've done for you, or thank them for being there for you. Maybe somebody this morning, did something really kind to you, and just send them a text. And when they get that text, it will release dopamine, it will release serotonin, it will make them feel, they'll get just an instant release of, wow, that was impactful, and they won't forget that. And then you can they'll probably send a message back and it'll do the same thing for you. And so the point is that in any circumstance, you have an opportunity to make yourself and make somebody feel good. And I think and in a world where only 3 people were saying they were happy, it's an epidemic. I mean, this is something that we all have to help each other with. And this isn't a business. This is life. Like, this is the true meaning of why we are here together, is to help each other through these times. So I'm deeply committed to it. And we facilitated at Luma. We have a smile board. We're actually taking a mental health week next week. And everyone on my team had a choice if they wanted to have an experience or have a cash value. Some people are staying behind, but most of our team is going to Costa Rica. We're closing for a week and we're going to have a mental health week together. I just think it's too important not to take care of your people and the people in your lives, your family, the people you love. So that's the why. Someone down the street just might need you to say, I love your smile today. You never know what they're going through. And that's the power that we all have as humans for each other. So that's the why.
Well, I love it. I hate that we're running up on time just because I have so many more questions. And so for those of you that are still just curious and intrigued by what Dr. Gina shared today, I just recommend that you follow her on LinkedIn. Just search for Dr. Gina Anderson or Luma Brighter Learning. And just follow her story. Like, I really enjoy following Nugget around the U.S.
Thank you.
Just that journey. And and I just smile. And then I'm also like challenged because as Gina was sharing today, specifically, like, here's what we're doing, like mental health day for our team in Costa Rica. That challenges me as a business owner, just to be like, okay, well, how can I prioritize that more with my company? And then similarly, like, just different challenges she's had around, like, here's a systematic way to, like, spread kindness. And yeah, so just yeah, I really appreciate your content and just who you are
Oh,
as a
did you get a
person.
sunshine jar? I sent you one. Did you get it
You did?
yet?
No, I don't think I did.
Oh, okay. Well, it's coming. I'm pretty
Well, I'm
sure
excited.
that Nugget put it in the mail, so I'll have to check on
There you
it.
go.
But well, thank
The
you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining us today. Our goal with the Hire Truckers podcast is to provide industry insights, marketing trends, and motivation to level up your recruiting game. If we added value, take a few seconds to share this with your network. Have a great week.